This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Erika Kristensen. Tonight on the Scorecard, LeBron James makes history as he becomes first NBA player to reach 50,000 career points. In the PBL, Akari books quarterfinal spot, but needs to level up for tougher challenge ahead. Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series returns to El Nido for thrilling 2025 season opener. Aussie stars Titmus and Trew nominated among world's best in the Laureus World Sports Awards. More from the NBA, Kyrie Irving out for season, tears ACL in left knee. LeBron dropped suffer fifth straight loss as Spurs roll to 127-113 win. And we have Philippine Football League standout striker Andres Aldeguer joining us tonight. All the headlines and much more. Don't miss the Scorecard tonight, the 5th of March. Now here's our roundup. LeBron James became the first player in NBA history to score 50,000 career points on Wednesday, extending his lead as the league's all-time top scorer with a record that may never, ever be broken. The Los Angeles Lakers star entered the game against the New Orleans Pelicans. Akari is through to the quarterfinals of the PBL All-Filipino Conference, but the Chargers know they cannot afford to play the same way if they want to go deeper into the tournament. After surviving a 5-set thriller against Farm Fresh 25-11, 23-25, 18-25, 25-21, and 15-9 at the Phil Sports Arena, Akari locked in a spot in the next round, but the road only gets harder from here on out. Waiting for the Chargers in the next round is giant killer Galleries Tower, a team that just pulled off a stunning upset over number 3 seed Cignal, sending a clear warning that they are not done quite yet. The win helped Akari bounce back from consecutive losses to Choco Mucho and Cignal, giving the young team a much-needed boost heading into the knockout stage. Playmaker Michelle Cobb kept the offense running smoothly with 18 excellent sets, while Ellie Soyud added 14 points and Cam's Victoria contributed 10, including 4 aces. Soltones, who came off the bench and played 3 sets in her return, brought much-needed leadership at the right time. The challenge is set, and now it is up to Akari to raise their game or risk seeing their season sadly come to an end. The Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series is officially making its way back in here to the Philippines as El Nido hosts the highly anticipated 2025 season opener from April 11 to 13. A total of 24 world-class athletes are set to take on the iconic limestone cliffs, executing precision perfect dives from heights of 27 meters for men and 21 meters for women, reaching speeds of up to 85 kilometers per hour before entering the waters below. The season opener promises a stacked field featuring defending champions and newcomers looking to make their mark, all battling for early momentum in the race for the coveted King Kahekili Trophy. With, of course, as we all know, El Nido's stunning natural backdrop and challenging open water conditions, divers will be tested on both technique and mental toughness as they kick off what's expected to be another action-packed season. After the Philippine leg, the series continues to destinations including Italy, Bosnia, and even Herzegovina, and the USA before closing out the year with a final showdown and crowning of this season's champions. All the fans can look forward to 3 days of world-class cliff diving, with El Nido once again proving why it's one of the most spectacular stops on the global tour. So mark your calendars and get ready for the action. Australia's Olympic champions Ariarne Titmus and Trew have been nominated for the prestigious Laureus World Sports Awards, celebrating the best in global sport. Trew, a 14-year-old skateboarder, made history as Australia's youngest ever Olympic gold medalist in Paris and now chases back-to-back Laureus titles in the Action Sports Person of the Year category. Titmus is nominated for Comeback of the Year after returning from surgery to remove an ovarian tumor, then defending her 400-meter freestyle title and eventually winning 4 medals in Paris. The star-studded nominee list also features F1 champion Max Verstappen, while Yannick Sinner's nomination was withdrawn following a 3-month doping ban. Australia now waits to see if Trew and Titmus can bring home more gold, this time on sport's biggest world awards stage. Now, more from the NBA. LeBron James just keeps making history and winning it. The Lakers were rolling, taking down the Pelicans 136-115. Now that's 7 straight dubs and counting, and yep, it is their longest winning streak in 4 years. Luka Doncic was doing Luka things as usual, dropping 30 points with 15 assists and 8 rebounds. Plus, Jackson Hayes came through with a season-high 19 points and 10 boards. All that without starters Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, who were out injured. New Orleans in the West. LeBron hit the 50,000 mark early with a 3 crowd for the and with LeBron leading the way, who is gonna cool them off? Meanwhile, though, the Brooklyn Nets dropped their 5th consecutive game after falling to the San Antonio Spurs 127-113 in Texas. Cam Thomas led the way for Brooklyn with 24 points and 6 assists, while Cam Johnson added 17 points, and Trendon Watford came off the bench to deliver 12 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Now, despite a competitive start, the Nets lost control midway through the 3rd quarter when the Spurs pulled off a 26-8 run. A dunk from Stephon Castle put San Antonio up 95-70 with under 2 minutes remaining in the period, turning the rest of the game into garbage time. San Antonio's Devin Vassell led all scorers with a season-high 37 points and 10 rebounds. Brooklyn remains 2.5 games behind Chicago for the final play-in tournament spot in the Eastern Conference, while also staying tied with Philadelphia for the 6th best odds in the upcoming draft lottery. D'Angelo Russell and Derek Whitehead returned from injuries, with Russell finishing with 12 points and 4 assists. However, DeAnthony Melton, with an ACL tear and Noah Clowney ankle injury, remained out. The Nets also announced the signing of guard Tyson Etienne to a 2-way contract from their G League affiliate, Long Island. Now, Etienne, meanwhile, Killian Hayes, who started the last 5 games for the Nets on a 10-day contract, did not receive a second deal, and his next move remains uncertain. The Spurs played without Victor Wembanyama, Charles Bassey, and Riley Minix, but still managed to take control behind Vassell's big night. Now, here are more results from around the NBA. And here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Did you guys know that in table tennis, when the ball touches the net on a serve but still lands fairly, it's called the let? Yep, a let happens when the served ball clips the net but still bounces properly on the opponent's side of the table. Now, when a let occurs, the serve doesn't count, and the server simply tries again without any penalty. There is no limit to how many lets can happen during a single service, okay? Making it a quirky yet common part of the game. Now, it's a way of saying, hold up, let's redo that, let's rewind that to keep the play fair. So next time you hear let on the table, you will know it's not just a pause, it's a second chance to serve up something better. Now it's time for our off-court buzzer. The Dallas Mavericks just took a massive hit. 9-time NBA All-Star Kyrie Irving is done for the season after suffering a torn ACL on his left knee. Irving went down during Monday's 122-98 loss to the Sacramento Kings, but still managed to sink 2 free throws before leaving the game. The 32-year-old has been a key piece for Dallas this year, playing in 50 games and averaging 24.7 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 4.6 assists. Now, it's another tough blow for the Mavs here, who are definitely fighting to stay in the playoff picture at 10th in the West. And now without Kyrie, oh my goodness, the challenge gets even harder. The Mavs are also dealing with injuries to Jaden Hardy, Derek Lively II, Daniel Gafford, Caleb Martin, and now addition Anthony Davis. Kyrie's injury adds to a growing list of NBA stars sidelined, with Victor Wembanyama out with a blood clot issue and Joel Embiid also done for the season with a knee injury. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 5th of March. When we return, one Taguig striker Andres Aldeguer joins us here at the BNC studio. So watch out for that right here on The Scorecard. Welcome back to the Scorecard. He is the striker of the Philippine Football League's neophyte team, Wanta Gig. But giving his best is nothing new for this elite athlete here. So here to talk about how to stay focused in the game and much, much more. Welcome to the BNC studio, Andres Aldeguer.
Thank you for having me, Erika.
Andres,
it's a pleasure.
Of course. We're so excited to have you here and, of course, share your story with us, Andres. All right, let's start. How did you get into football? Because I know you come from a predominantly athletic family. Your dad being a basketball superstar in UAAP and PBA back in the day. But how did you even get into football? Who inspired you?
Oh, it was my brother, actually.
Okay.
So my dad used to play football, actually, when he was younger. And then he later shifted on to basketball around like grade 8, grade 9. So he kind of wanted us to develop on the football side, like working on our footwork, working on our speed. So eventually, like when we got to, around grade 8, grade 9, he was hoping that we would make that switch. And then what motivated me was actually my brother, because he was obviously older and, as a younger brother, I was always, following in his footsteps. Everything he did, I did. So if he wanted to play, let's say, football, I'll play football. If he wanted to play basketball that day, I was always his playing partner. So, yeah, basically started at a young age, maybe around 6 or 7 years old.
6 or 7,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, so let me get this straight, Andres. You initially started playing football in hopes that in hopes that you would shift back to basketball because of your dad.
Yeah, and my whole family, actually. My tito is the coach now of De La Salle Zobel for high school. So I guess that was like the route for me, because everything was put into place to play basketball. So my dad was a player, my tito is a coach. So everything was in line, but I guess it just didn't work out.
I know, yeah. Okay, so because of that, what was it about football that that just naturally gravitated you towards the sport?
I think it's more of like, the joy I get in scoring goals, and celebrating as a team. Like in basketball, like the only moment you get is maybe like a game winner, a clutch block or something like that. But I feel like every goal you score is like, the whole stadium's cheering, the whole, my parents, my my teammates, and it's just a joy to have that feeling all the time. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose, right? Because unlike basketball kasi you can score like 100 in a game, right?
Yeah.
But like for football, it's usually like 3-6 goals in a game.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that you get to score. Okay, so I get that. All right, Andres. Now I know back in 2022 you joined the ASCO's development team, correct? ADT.
Correct, yeah.
And now you're playing for Wanta Gig. So tell me, how was the transition between both teams, and how did you evolve as a player from ADT and now playing for Wanta Gig?
So being in ADT was more of like a youth club. Like, people were my age. I was able to, speak my mind. But then as I went to like the professional level, everything kind of gets more serious. They're very strict with like, coming to training on time. When training starts, we stop the joking. So it was kind of an adjustment to me. Like, I was playing with people who were like, at the time I was maybe 19, I was playing with guys much younger because I was one of the oldest there in the ADT team. So shifting to the professional level, I'm like the youngest one there. So I'm like, more quiet, more inside. But then, Wanta Gig is I'm very blessed to have a good family there. So as I got to play, get along with the guys, I get to, speak out more.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I know also in ADT that you were the best scorer in the team, which I'm pretty sure that put a lot of pressure on your shoulders back then. So how did you handle the pressure, knowing that, Asi Andres, like he's the one who's gonna goal, pass to him. Like, how did you handle that?
I think it just has to do a lot with the, repetitions and training, because, if you put in the work and training and you come to the game, like it's nothing new. Like goal scoring isn't something new, and I feel like in the pro league, because in ADT we would we had a younger squad, so the expectation for me to score was not as heavy as it is now, because we have pro players who dedicated their lives to it. They've been playing for 5-10 years, and their expectations for you to score every time you get on is very high. So it was a big adjustment to that.
I mean, I can't even begin to imagine. Okay, so ADT, and then you shifted to NCAA in the US.
Yeah.
You were telling me about that earlier off cam. You were telling me about your lovely experiences getting to train with your US teammates back then. How do you think US football is any different from Philippine football in terms of like the culture, the training culture, the playing culture? Are there any differences?
On the technical side, I would say it's very similar. Because the main sport, of course, in the U.S. is like basketball or baseball, and same like the Philippines. We have the main sports like basketball and volleyball. It's growing. More NCAA Division I teams are actually starting to put up their own football team, and a big difference from the college level here and I think with the States is the facilities. Like, I was really shocked when I got there. Like, we had a massive gym for like all students, and like on my off days where we didn't have team lifts, we'd like gym there with like some of my boys. And then I think there were maybe like 10-12 squat racks in that one place.
Wow.
And then when it got to like team lifts, there were maybe like 18 squat racks, and it was overwhelming.
That's
like
crazy.
The first time we got there.
And you guys were just sharing it all together.
We were just sharing it all together, yeah. Like,
even with other teams, like from other sports as well.
Yeah, so let's say team lift. Our team lift was usually like 6 to 7 in the morning. 7 to 8, there was like the basketball team, so you see all the guys there.
There's a scheduled time for it.
There was a scheduled time.
Okay, Andres, having played in US NCAA for a year, what was the biggest lesson that you've learned there and that you were able to bring here in the Philippines?
I think it's just living independently. Like, I feel like there I had, because here in the Philippines I have a individual coach who helps with my shooting. Unlike there in the States, I was all alone. So for me to improve on my scoring, to improve on my touches, and improve on my dribbling, I had to, call my coach. Coach, do you have like the keys to the locker? And get some balls, and set up my own cones.
Right.
And, it was very different there. Yeah.
Okay, that's very insightful. Yeah, because actually I was gonna ask about how being independent in the US, when you learned about being independent, how that translates to your play style as a football player now. So you were able to answer that naman. But as a striker though, Andres, is there any player that you kind of pattern your playing style after? Is there anybody who inspires you?
I think right now it would be Erling Haaland, because I feel like, with how big he is and how fast, I try to take advantage of the height, because, normally football players aren't like, on the taller end. So being a tall guy in the Philippines kind of helps me like, image like, Erling Haaland.
Yeah. Okay, well that's a very good choice. Okay, Andres, just out of curiosity, before we wrap up our interview, because I covered for you guys back in Malaysia for the 7X International, and you guys placed silver, diba?
Yeah.
Silver. So, you were playing together in the same team as some of our football Philippine legends like Schrock and Misag, for example, and of course the Hartman brothers.
Oh yeah.
Were there any? What was the most important advice that they taught you being a young striker?
I feel like it's more of like having character, like being around who's Mark Hartman, who is in my position striker. You just have character. Like, you see him, he's so composed when he gets the ball. Turn, shoot, finish. And he has that like small celebration. I feel like building your character and building like, personality and how you play impacts the way you really play.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing that really struck me the most during our trip was when Hartman really, he really emphasized the importance of straightforwardness. Like, just be straightforward on the field, Exactly. Which I feel like definitely reflected on your playing style at the time.
But I definitely have to learn a lot from him.
Of course. I mean, you're still young, so the journey is definitely it's going to be a long road from now. But thank you so much, Andres, for coming to the studio and sharing your story.
Thank you again for having me.
All right. Okay. When the scorecard returns, we will look into the NBA matchup so you can keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the scorecard. It is time to keep your eyes on the prize. Celtics surge. Why Boston will own March. All right, the Boston Celtics have already proven they can dominate a month. Just look at their league best record in November. But since then, they, haven't quite recaptured that same rhythm. So that's actually about to change, you guys. With March upon us, the Celtics have a golden opportunity to reclaim their status as the NBA's top team, and the numbers suggest they will do exactly just that. While other teams are grinding through the brutal schedules here, Boston has a much smoother path. In fact, only the Wizards, Timberwolves, and Raptors face an easier stretch to close the regular season. But here's the key, okay? The Celtics don't even need to go full throttle to rack up wins. Now, unlike contenders still scrambling for playoff positioning, Boston has the luxury of fine-tuning their elite starting five. We've got Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis. Now, last season, this group played 293 possessions together and posted a dominant plus 12 net ratings. But in 2024 to 2025, they've only logged about half that time, I think. And their negative 1.4 net rating suggests they still need reps to get back to their full strength. March will be their chance to iron out any wrinkles before the postseason. Now, the Boston Celtics are in prime position to dominate this month of March, and the odds are backing them up. Let me tell you guys, let's take a look at what is ahead. We've got March 5 here. The Celtics step up in as 10.5-point favorites against the Portland Trail Blazers. With Boston's defense clicking and their offense finding rhythm, this is a matchup they're expected to control. Now, let's fast forward to March 6. Here you go. And the numbers don't change because it's still 10.5 points in favor of Boston against the Sixers. A statement game in the Eastern Conference where we'll see if the Celtics can reinforce their dominance. Then circle back to March 8 because it's Celtics versus Lakers. And once again, odds makers have Boston as a 10.5-point favorites. Another opportunity for Jason Tatum and company to make their presence felt. Now, let's not forget the Celtics' home court advantage, okay? TD Garden has been a fortress all season, and with a friendly schedule, Boston should be in prime position to pile up wins. Plus, with Tatum and Brown both in peak form, the Celtics' firepower is nearly unmatched. So don't be surprised if Boston closes out March as the NBA's hottest team once again. The defending champs have every reason and every opportunity, actually, to prove that no one in the league is better when it matters the most. So with that said, that wraps up tonight's preview so you can keep your eyes on the prize. Now, before we go, think on this. From Manchester United's legendary manager who won a record 49 trophies, including 13 Premier League titles and 2 Champions League titles, Sir Alex Ferguson once said, "Success is not permanent and failure is not fatal." And with that, thank you so much for joining us once again tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Once again, this is Erika Kristensen. Have a good evening, everyone.